You wake up late. You spill your coffee. You get cut off while driving. The text you were expecting never comes. A small mistake at work blows up into a disaster. And so you conclude, today sucks. But did anyone tell you a simple truth? It wasn't the traffic. It wasn't the rude person. It wasn't the spilled coffee. It was because you gave up your peace too easily. You let the smallest, weakest things hurt you, as if your insides are worth nothing. You lose a war without your opponent even attacking. The world doesn't revolve around your emotions. It's not gentle. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. And if you don't learn to master yourself, you'll always be at the mercy of circumstances. From a strange look, to a text message, to a sudden rain shower. The question is not, why is this happening to me? But rather, what am I going to do about what happened? Because life doesn't ask if you're ready. It just tests you every day. And you have to decide, will you continue to live fragilely or start cultivating inner strength? Life is full of surprises. Things always go wrong. And you know what? Stoicism doesn't ask, why did this happen to me? It asks, what am I going to do about it? It's a small mindset shift, but it's enough to change the way you live. Stoics don't try to deny pain. They don't pretend everything is okay. They simply don't let small things become the focus of your day. When someone insults you, when a technical glitch happens, when it rains in the middle of the road, you can't control that, but you can control how you react. You can choose quiet or choose chaos. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are suffering from something external, the pain comes not from the event itself, but from your judgment about it, and you can change that judgment immediately." What does that mean? It means that negative emotions are not something that just comes. They are something you select to carry. And when you understand that, you are no longer a victim of the world. You begin to become the master of yourself. Have you ever been there? One little thing happens, and your whole day spirals out of control. One harsh word, one missed text, one minor incident, and you snap, whine, get angry at someone, at yourself, or at the world. You call it letting go, releasing emotions. But really, it's when you give your energy to something that is not worthy. What is the price? A whole day of lost focus, a mind that is dragged away by the hours that have passed, a strength that leaks away little by little to things that will no longer matter tomorrow. So, next time you feel like reacting immediately, stop and ask yourself, does this reaction really help? Will I still remember this tomorrow? It's not the little things that hurt you. It's the magnification you give them, the power you give them. And each time you do, you are moving away from a stronger version of yourself. You can't control traffic. You can't control other people's attitudes. You can't be sure that the outcome will always go your way. And the great thing is, you don't have to control everything. Epictetus once said, "There is only one way to happiness, to stop worrying about things that are beyond your control." Happiness doesn't come from the world being peaceful. It comes from you being peaceful. Choose calm in the storm. You may not be able to control the circumstances, but you can control my breathing. You may not be able to control other people, but you control the amount of influence they have on your mood. You do not decide the outcome, but you can control it, discipline, effort, and perspective. That is the power of a person who has trained his mind firmly. Because true peace is not something you find out there, but something you build within. There are two versions of each of us. One personal ways respond immediately, irritable when criticized, panic when encountering problems, lose temper over small things, and another, calm, observant, know how to keep a space between the event and the reaction. They exhale, they assess, then they act. Between those two people, it is not luck or inborn. That is training gap. Emotional discipline is like a muscle. If you don't exercise it, it gets weaker. If you let yourself get angry, irritable, and lose control every day, you will get used to being controlled by the world. Do you want real freedom? Let's start with a simple skill that few people practice. Stop, observe, then choose to respond instead of reflexively letting go. Because freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want. It comes from not being dragged down by things that don't matter. Have you ever had a problem, but created a crisis in your head? A message doesn't come. You think they hate you. A cold look. You think you did something wrong. One small mistake, and you imagine your career is about to collapse. Seneca once said something very true. We suffer more in our imagination than in reality. And he was not exaggerating. We build mountains from one stone. We act out a whole tragedy in our heads from things that no one notices in real life. The Stoic understood that most of our suffering comes not from reality, but from our interpretation of it. From the noise in my head, the one that keeps repeating like a broken song. So whenever you find yourself panicking, ask yourself, am I facing a real problem? Or is it just a fear I wrote myself? Peace doesn't come from everything being okay. It comes from not making a mess of things. Actually, stress does not come from events. It comes from the fact that you expect things to go the way you want them to. You expect others to understand you. You believe today will go smoothly. Work will be favorable. No one will hurt you. And when life doesn't go as planned, you fall apart. But really, what's wrong with other people not accommodating your feelings? Is it strange that one day there are some complications? That is the nature of life. Stoicism teaches us something very powerful. Don't live in an ideal version of reality. See life as it is, nothing more, nothing less. Because when you remove the layer of expectations, you also remove most of the suffering. Emotional freedom doesn't come from controlling the world. It comes from stopping demanding it be perfect. You don't have to react to everything. Not every insult deserves a reply. It's not that someone is angry, it's because you're wrong. In a noisy and stimulating world, calmness is a form of power, quiet but profound. Many people think that suppressing emotions is weakness, but in fact, controlling emotions is the ultimate expression of inner strength. Because anyone can get angry, but very few people can choose not to get angry. No need to speak up against every injustice. No need to prove anything to anyone. Sometimes silence is the loudest voice, and calm is the loudest roar in the most chaotic times. You are strong not because you react quickly, but because you know when not to react at all. Life will never stop testing you, but challenges don't define who you are. How you react says it all. You can't control the world, but you can control the doors that open into your mind. Every time you stop, breathe, observe, you choose strength over weakness. Don't let an anonymous word, a small delay, or an old fear take away your life energy. You are the gatekeeper. You decide what deserves to stay, what should float away like the clouds. It is not avoidance, That is the character of a man who has learned to keep himself steady in the midst of chaos. That is the way of a modern Stoic, calm, clear, inviolable. If you find this message touches something in you, let's subscribe channel so that each passing day is a more solid step on the journey of self-mastery.